Okay, we're online now. All right, welcome everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Excellent Parenting Program, where we dive deep into joys and challenges of parenting. I'm your host, Fobi Ali, and I'm glad to have you join me again today. On today's program, it is going to be an interesting one. And our Bible verse for this program is from the book of Proverbs, chapter 22, verse 6, which says, "Train up a child in the way he should go, and when he's old, he will not depart from it." Today, I have a very special person here with me, and together we'll be diving into an important topic, which says navigating parenting conflicts, how different upbringings shapes parenting styles. If you have ever disagreed with your partner about parenting, whether on issues like discipline, dressing, screen time, academics, or even how we invest in our children, you are not alone. The major reason behind these conflicts are our own childhood experience and the parenting styles we grow up with. There's a saying that you can only give what you have. So the major reason behind these conflicts are our own childhood experience and the parenting styles we grew up with. So in this discussion, we will unpack how upbringing influences the way we parent. Sometimes what works for us as children doesn't necessarily work for our children. So how can we find a common ground? Let's explore this together. To find guide through this session, I am honored to have an incredible woman with me, Mercy Oyeleke. Mercy Oyeleke is a devoted wife, a mother of two wonderful children, which I know very well. She is deeply passionate about working alongside with children as they grow in their faith. She is actively involved in children ministry. She found joy in creating a nurturing space where young hearts can come to know God personally and learn to trust Him through life challenges. Through teaching, encouraging, and being present in their faith journey, bring her immense fulfillment. Our love for family is rooted in our love for God. Over the years, she has learned that when we are intentional and invite Holy Spirit into our parenting, our home can become a place of peace, purpose, growth, and even supporting families in this journey is something she truly cares about. Mercy's personal story also offers a unique perspective. She is Hausa from northern part of Nigeria and married to a Yoruba man from the southwest. These two ethnic groups are distinct, have distinct culture. Their beliefs are different, and even their parenting styles. Drawing from our own experience, she will share valuable insights to help us today, creating and how to create a parenting approach that can work for us, both us and our partners. We are excited, and I am excited personally to learn from our wisdom and experience. So let's get started. So before we dive in, please don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe if you haven't, and comment below. And I want you to comment with any parenting topics you and your partner always disagree on. And we'll try and answer all those questions. So let's jump into the program. Our upbringing play a significant role in shaping the way we parent, the values, the discipline, and our method, and even the emotional support that we experience as children often influence how we raise our children. When partners disagree about parenting approaches, it's really just about the immediate situation. These conflicts often reveal a deep pattern of our family dynamics. That's how we have been parents, and that has been passed to us, through many generations. So we have different segments here. So I'm going to bring our guest in. You're welcome. At least everybody can hear your voice now.
Thank you, thank you, thank
Okay.
you. I hope you can hear my voice too.
Sure, I can hear
Thank you so much
Hear
for
you very well.
inviting me.
And I'm so
I
glad to
really
see you.
appreciate.
It's
Thank you.
I know it's been a while. It's been a
Yeah,
while.
it's been a
Yeah.
while.
All right, so let's get into it. Yeah. Messi Oyeleke, please can you say hi to our viewers?
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good evening. And if it's morning, wherever you're watching from, or if you're watching the replay, I'm so delighted to be here. My name is Mercy Oyeleke. Thank you so much, Fumi, for inviting me to talk about this very important topic that helps us in navigating through parenting with our partners, and then especially for those of us who have to move from one culture to another culture and to another part of the world,
Environment.
different culture. So thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate. Thank you.
All right, thanks for coming. So let's just get started. My first question to you is, why do many couples struggles with parenting conflicts? Or let me just put it this way. Why do parenting conflicts happen?
Um, Thank you very much. I think that kind of question, I would say, first thing first, I would say that conflict is kind of a way of trying to understand our personalities as individuals. So, what works for one person might not work for the other person. So, those I would say are major reasons why we see conflict, because of our unique creation, because of the way God has wired each and every one of us. It's normal for you to just say, oh, he's a man, that's how he think. Oh, he's a woman, that's how she thinks, right? So those are some common things. So I think those are the major reasons why we have conflicts in our relationship, or maybe with our partners, or agreeing on how we want to be able to raise our kids, and then maybe depending on the kind of functional homes we come from.
Hmm, that's so interesting. So, would you say that when couples argue about parenting, it is really about the children, or it's more than that?
Now it all depends. I would say there are two ways to read. Now, there are times that the argument could stem from a backlog of offense, and there are times that it could just be a spot on, that the thing just happened and the argument just comes because of the way the different parents see things. So I think there are two ways to it, if I would say, if from my own perspective, that it's not just one way. There are two ways to it. Is either maybe the parents have been having a backlog of issue that they've not been able to kind of communicate well and resolve among themselves, and then one of the child now happens to make an error, or to make a wrong decision, and then maybe one of the partner just mentioned something like, oh, you behave just like your parent, or just like, and then it stems that conflict, and sometimes it becomes really heated, and it gets to an extent of, exchange of words that are really not expected. But it actually stems from poor communication, from um a pattern, or maybe something that has happened between the two families. So that's what I would say. And then from there, it becomes a problem for the partners.
Okay, thank you so much. In summary, when we go back to our topic, the topic for this program, so we want to see how our childhood experience can impact our parenting decision. Sometimes when your child do something, And as you said already, if the other couple, the other partner just said, "Oh, you're doing it exactly like your mom," you're inviting the mom to come into the discussion now. So many times that we argue, we just want, we maybe it's something that we're thinking, it's just an experience, that just come up when we're trying to talk to that child. So what do you want to say about that? So what is the impact of that, our childhood experience on how we parent?
Okay, thank you for that question. Um, First thing first, I would say that I'm going to use myself as an example. Now, coming from the north, you know, generally, the northern way of discipline is quite different from the southern way. The northern way kind of look more at gentle parenting. Like a lot of times the kids get away with a lot of things. Now the southern way, they believe in both gentle parenting and also the tough love. And so therefore, uh, one of the shocks that I was having was on that, because it was like, no, 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 it's like, no, you have to teach that child that thing, and then you have to give them the grace to make those errors before you decide on when they should be penalized or when they should, be disciplined for this offense. And but it's different. And so when it now started coming up over and over again and becoming like it's beginning to cause arguments and misunderstanding with my husband, the best option I had to do was to look inwards and try to understand that, one, we were two adults that came to meet and marry, so we had a different upbringing. So I
Mm,
had to look at the fact that we had different upbringing. Although the parents are very gentle, calm, my husband's parents are gentle, calm, and they are easygoing people. But I also have to factor in that age has also played a role
mm,
in where they are. So I can't judge based on that. So,
mm,
but honestly, at first it was a real shock for me,
mm,
because it was like, why did you do this? Why did you? And from where I'm coming from, some of those things they just say, oh, don't mind them, they're just kids, just overlook them,
mm,
right?
mm.
So, but I think a mix of both is actually the best. Tough love is not bad.
Sorry.
So I would say that tough love is very important in upbringing. The most important thing is that it's good for partners to always communicate how they want to be able to deal with discipline issues, and also deal with behavioral issues when it comes to their kids, and what is the best way that it can help the child be a better person. So
Yeah.
that's what I would say.
All right. Thank you so much. So, in summary, a person's interaction with those who raise them color the relationship they will have with their children.
Yes.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. So, to our audience, if you have you ever feel like it's only you and your spouse that only argue about parenting? It's just a question, because sometimes you will think you are the only one that is happening to. So if you have ever feel like that, I just want you to comment in the comment section, because this is a general thing. It's not particular to a culture. It's not particular to. It's even all over the world. Even where this Western world, it's common. So if you know that, or you feel that you have felt that in one way or the other, you can just comment on the in the comment section. So we're moving to the second segment. This I'm just gonna give you some live parenting conflicts, and you just give us how to solve them. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So we'll go through them now. The first one, the first scenario here, it's a discipline dilemma. So one parent believes in strict discipline and the other prefer gentle parenting. How do they, how do they compromise? How can they compromise?
Hmm. It is a difficult thing, I would say, if you look at it on the face value of what it is outside Christ. So, because it takes a lot. Sometimes I'll also use myself as an example. Sometimes when I have to argue with my partner about disciplining the kids, and maybe he's trying to use like examples that was used for him. I feel maybe he's trying to actually um, attack me, right? So it took a lot of work and, praying and then trying to work on myself to actually look at it on the basis that, okay, this thing is for the benefit of this child. That is number one. Number two, and then I have to also look at what the word of God says concerning discipline for us as individuals and then before our kids. And then I also reflected on the fact that there were times that my dad was really tough on me, and those toughness has produced what I am. So I try to look at ways of balancing issues so that it will not cause like friction between my relationship and my partner. Although some people are able to manage it better, but I think the most important thing is one, our belief system. If we believe in God and we go to church or we have a community that we're very committed with, it's very important for us to try and understand how the culture works.
Mhm.
Like in some places, you're not allowed to use certain kind of discipline, and in some places you are supposed to allow certain discipline. So you have to understand what are the disciplines that are allowed, and then you have to prayerfully look at what you can do, and then you have to look at different means for different behavioral issues as it comes with the child. I don't know if that
Yes.
answers a little.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you
No
so much. Let's
problem.
move to the next scenario. The next one is the screen time struggles. So one parent wants to limit screen time, while the other think a little extra is fine. So how can they handle this?
Thank you so much for this question. This is also very difficult. You get it? Okay, so there are times that like a parent could be busy doing something and one of the kid is really disturbing the parent, and the parent will look at a screen time alternative to give the kid. And then the other parent will just bump in and just like, no, but we agreed that the screen time should just be only 2 hours. Why? You're like, oh no, I need to do this thing, and this child is not letting me. The only thing I would say here is that as a mom, if I'm the one doing that, I'm getting it all wrong. And it's going to affect the child, because what children understand is what they see us do. So if we are consistent with the screen time, over time, they will get used to it. And as a parent, you have to agree, even if it's not what you want. You just have to agree and stick to it. So sometimes, if we're having issues with one another, with the kids trying to insist on their way, we just say, oh yeah, go and ask your dad. The dad will say, no, go and ask your mom. Oh, he's not in my power. So sometimes we just try to play out things like that. And then another alternative is to have programs or activities slated for those kids, especially the younger ones. You have a lot of activities for them that can help with the screen time. And then I don't know, parental control on devices can also work, but I would say that both parents have to be on the same line of agreement. Like, this is it. If it's 2 hours, it's 2 hours. It doesn't matter whether you're done with what you want to do or not. 2 hours is 2 hours, and we won't go above that.
All right, thank you. So both parents need to agree because the
Yes.
children are even watching us. When you say
No,
A and your husband is saying B, they are really,
yes,
really there watching, and they want to see.
exactly.
So they will just say, okay, since they don't agree, then I can have my way and do whatever I want.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to be in agreement. So we have two more to go. So this one is grandparents' influence. One parent, one partner's parent interferes with the parenting decision, causing tension. So what will you advise the couple? What would be your advice to the couple?
Now, when it comes to grandparents, one has to use a lot of wisdom in dealing with stuff like that, right? Because especially if those grandparents are living in the house with that family, is usually a very difficult scenario, except if you um the direct child of the parent will be able to sit down with your parents and explain to them that these are decisions that you made with your partner, and you would love them to be able to give you that grace and extend that hand of understanding so that you'll be able to do what you feel is right for your child. Let them understand that we have different times. What the ways that the millennials were raised is different from the Gen Zs, is different from the Gen Alphas, and whatever generation. So then maybe they are boomers and their own generation is different. So it's a different ball game. So it's very important that what I would say is it's very important that communication is always channel appropriately, and people get to understand why these communications or this discipline is supposed to be done, so that there won't be conflicts. Because sometimes I've had to hear people say, oh no, that's not how I raised your mom. No, that's not how I raised your dad. No, you understand, those are comments that can trigger a lot of tension in the home. And those grandkids, they will be hearing it, and they can just decide to take some decisions based on that, or even react based on that and say, no, grandma said that this is how you know do.
All right, thank you so much. And this is the last one. This one is common in the Western world. I'm not sure if it is common in Africa, if it's in Africa too, or maybe the children are into this as well in Africa. It's been long I've left home. So this one is appearance and dressing. So one parent did not see anything bad in boys making their hair, and other parent didn't like it. And also, one parent did not like their daughter wearing something that exposes the body, but another parent doesn't see anything bad in it. I think this always causes trouble in homes. So, what would be your advice for anyone facing this?
Okay. Now, when it comes to dressing, I would say that as Christians, dressing is part of what makes us different. And so it's very important that we try to communicate that to our kids. I know that now where we are, it's very difficult for parents to try to tell their kids, especially when they reach certain stage like the teenage age, as to how they would dress. But you know, these are also communication things that it's very important for you as Christians. Now, as a child of God, God has called us as parents to be the first missionary for our kids. So the first question you're going to ask yourself is, how am I living out my life? How am I living out my light? How am I living out my dressing? How am I living out what I say? How I communicate? That can affect this child, that can make this child do certain things, right? So, because sometimes the child can just come, no, I'm just going to have to wear just this. After all, this child is wearing this. So, this is where there's an opportunity for the gospel as a parent. This is where you can use the gift that God has given you to try to tell the child why he is different, why you think this and this cannot happen. For instance, you always want to tell your child about the culture where they come from. You always want them to be identified by their culture. And so, those values that make that culture who they are, you have to be able to help your child navigate and understand that they are. What makes them who they are is first God, and not what they wear, who they and then maybe how they carry themselves. So the most important thing is for you to be able to navigate it in a loving and in a very firm way, and also in a consistent way that will live out the life that you want the child to live. I know that it is very difficult. So it's always important to always remind the child that I know that it's very difficult, but I just want you to know you're not missing anything. It's important for you to protect yourself. And sometimes I also look at maybe some of these other people that really cover themselves and they're doing very well, even though they don't mention God. I say, you see, these people, they are royals and they dress like this, right? So that one. And then the issue of locks, braids. Some people say that while they are coming where they are coming from, that these locks is allowed in certain culture, so they don't see any reason why their child should not do it. Again, I would say to every parent, when your child, especially when a black kid does certain things, there's a way the world look at the black kids. And if
Awesome.
there's any problem, there's a way that black kid will be treated. So you want to be able to position your child in a way that your child is safe. You want to be able to position your child in the way that your child will be able to relate to God easily, so that when your child is in a place of decision making where he has to choose between the other way and God, he will be able to understand that who he is first is in God,
Yeah.
and then he'll be able to make that decision easily, and not to tell him that who he is or what he'll be referred to is based on what he's able to wear or what he's carrying on his body or how he talks and all those things. So for us, it's actually an agreement my partner and I had, and we just told the kids it is not possible.
Yeah.
And sometimes the question keeps coming, what if I turn 18? Can I do it? We say, no, you cannot do it. But I'm an adult. I say, no, you are not an adult. You are only an adult if there's proper separation. But if we still live together, you still are a child. That's how we are in where we're coming from. So the culture, the good values that we have from our culture, we try to imbibe it in our kids and
Yeah.
try to see how we can keep encouraging them and telling them the need why moderation is very key in
Yeah.
everything they do in life,
Yeah.
whether it's eating food, whether it's what they wear, what they do, and then we try to tell them the dangers of a lot of things. Hopefully, and as we continue to live out our lives in the way of Christ, they will be able to, imbibe in it and live that life too.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you so much for that. You know what really come to me is when you said, there are certain things that black children can do, and if anything happens, they can attach them, or I don't know, like an example. Let me give you an example. There was an incident that happens in Toronto of maybe last month, where
Mhm.
some teenagers went to a club and they started spraying guns, and it was a big thing. And some of them escaped, and so they were looking for some of them. So they now put the picture on the screen, just telling people that if they know them, they should, identify them and all that. And I look at all of them. It's really scared me. All of them were black kids, and they have dreadlocks on their head. All of them, like 8 of them. I quickly called my son. I said, please come and say something. And I show it to him. And I say, can you see something? All of them have dreads on their head, and they are finding this situation. If they are white children, they might say, okay, there's this is, but associating them with that kind of incident is something that when in future you might just dress like that, you might just have that on your head, and what somebody will be thinking in their mind is that, oh, maybe she's part of those children, maybe it's this. So it's very, very, as parents, we have a lot of work to do. It's very difficult, but with the help of
Yeah.
Christ, I think we can do a lot. We can let them know the consequences reasons. Like me and my husband, whenever we're on our social media and we see anything interesting that we can show our children, we download it and we play it to them. Maybe during prayer time, we just ask them, can you guys watch this video first? And when they watch it, we try to talk about it, and we try to, give them advice about it. So as parents, I think it is very, very, in this kind of generation, this kind of world, everything is just turning upside down. We need
Mm-hmm.
to be firm, and we need to be an intentional parent. If we
Yeah.
want to be parents, we should be parents. And if you want to, if you are not ready, when I was growing, there was a song. They said having baby is not a joke. You will feed them, you will love them. And if you are not ready, just leave it for people that want to. So when you have children, you have to like pour yourself in them. It's a ministry on its own. It's a work on its own. So thank you so much for that advice. So we'll move to the next one. When these conflicts, these arguments keep on, I've heard about many homes that have been separated because of this. They couldn't bear it. It's getting, out of hand. I've had a lot of situations, and sometimes when I hear it, it scares me,
Yeah.
because it's just the grace of God that we're enjoying. Honestly, it's
Mm-hmm.
just the grace of God, and it's just, some of us, as we're like, okay, this is a home. My home must not break. My home must not this. So we are trying to pour ourselves in and try to do whatever we want to do. So it will get to a stage where this thing will get out of hand.
That's right.
So how can we handle that? So let me just frame my question this way. So how can couples start recognizing this pattern and work towards their differences without constant arguments? Or can you give us some typical tips, practical ones that we can think about, like communication, like strategies, different things. So can you just give us some just for our viewers?
Yeah, thank you so much for that question. So I would say that first there should be communication. Like, now communication, like, where both of you can hear each other. There is active listening, there's just listening for listening's sake. Like, okay, yes, I heard what you say, but there's no communication in that. So one of the things that can help families is real active communication, where both parties will sit down and talk about how intentional they want to be. And then, parents, I would plead, stop using your children as a wager
Hmm.
to hurt the other parents.
Hmm.
Whether um, the parents are separated or they are still together, please do not use that wager and speak ill of your partner to your child. That child belongs to both parents, and
Hmm.
that child deserves to enjoy a father or a
Hmm.
mother. So it's very important for us as Christians to be intentional with
Hmm.
our communication. And where we end up finding ourselves as maybe single parents or maybe going through separation or divorce, it is very important that we try not to bring the kids in our conflicts.
Hmm.
Now, when we first moved to Canada, I remember it was um, it was difficult for my husband and I because we have cultural shock. The
Hmm.
fact that my husband and I have not been living together in Nigeria, we're living separately and working separately. We only meet maybe once in a month for 2 days, and that's it.
Hmm.
So for those 7 years, we did not meet. Now, coming here, meeting with another cultural shock, it was very difficult.
Hmm.
Over time, I began to notice that on our daughter, she
Hmm.
was becoming excessively angry. And
Hmm.
I just had to sit down and tell myself that, Mercy, you're not going anywhere with this attitude. You need to sit down and allow Christ to break you. And
Hmm.
so it's going to lead me now to the second point that I'm going to mention. Look for help.
Hmm.
Ask for help. Don't just sit down and just think that parenting is just have a child, give them food, buy them stuff, send them to school. No. When you need help, ask for help.
Hmm.
Because when you don't have the right help, you are bound to make so much mistakes,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So I sought for help. I humbled myself.
Hmm.
I said to myself, you cannot change anybody. You can only change you
Yourself.
with the
Hmm.
help of God.
Hmm.
And with prayer, gradually, 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 things begin to change. And, I could see the impact even on my daughter. Like, I
Hmm.
could see great impact. I could see her being more compassionate. I could see her being more submissive. I could see her, trying to navigate. She has her own, what would I say, side of her own story, but I could see those changes in her.
mm,
So seeking for help. Thirdly, I make it a point of duty that every year we have to attend a kids conference where we go to learn about raising kids based
mm,
on their ages. I know a lot of people would say, "Oh, we don't have the money, we don't have the time," but these are things that are very important because one, we came from one culture coming to another culture. It is very important for us to get to know so much about this other culture
mm,
as well as what the Bible says concerning helping our kids, as well as what
mm,
their generation is saying,
mm,
right? They have their different slang.
mm,
When I was growing, the slang we have is how far. Right now is a different slang,
mm,
right?
yeah.
And the third thing, prayers. You know,
Mm,
you have to pray. You have beyond just looking for help and all those things. You have
mm,
to pray. You have to also study the Bible together.
mm,
Read, let them read, let them understand what they are reading, and then
mm,
let them explain it, and then you explain your own. And
mm,
lastly, let them also know that you're a human being. You can make mistakes. You're
mm,
not perfect,
mm,
so that they can be open to you when they make those mistakes. They'll be able to come to you and you'll be able to guide them to the right way. So
mm.
for me, I think those are the five things that I would say that are like very important when it comes to resolving conflict and then finding the way out.
Mm, mm. Thank you so much for those practical steps. And just to add to it, uh, like a question, somebody said something in the comment section. They said, "Good evening. I think both of them should meet at the middle." That means the couple, the husband and the wife. You know, this matters a lot because if it is only wife that is, making the effort and the husband is not, is the wife is going to be tired very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So I like what you said, that they should always go for, like you guys, that you always go for children conferences and all that. I tell people, some people think parenting is just natural. Honestly, there are some parts that are natural, but most of these skills, you have to learn it. Because when we're growing, some of us, we just grow with what we see. It's not that your parent put you down and teach you and tell you this and tell you that. We grow in the process, and we find ourselves somewhere that we know we have to learn and unlearn. So
Yes,
both of them have to meet in the middle.
at the middle.
To now
Yes.
meet in the middle is the issue for most couples. So I like it that you have recommended to them that they should look for a parenting program to always attend. You know, People of our color, they don't always like cherish all these things. They just think it's just a waste of time, like you said. But there is a lot of benefits in all this.
Yep.
If you know that your home is not moving anywhere, you just have to do something. If it is you pausing whatever you're doing and finding a way out, if you know you really need a marriage. So, to our viewers out there, if you know you need your home, you need your children, you need your partners, we have to make effort. We have to be intentional. We have to look for a way to seek for help. We have to learn and unlearn, because many of us, what we've been carrying for so long, we have not even refreshed. We did not read any single book about parenting, and which is very dangerous. Some people don't even read books about parenting. There are good books about parenting. You will be reading some books, you'll be seeing yourself in the book. There was a day I was reading a book and I'm seeing myself. I couldn't hide it. I was calling my husband. I said, come and see, come and see. There are books that will show you who you are. And we have to learn from all those people that they've done it and they've been successful. So another one says, dressing portray who we are. So we need to teach our children to dress decently. So do you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Dressing is I would say is a key thing. Now there was a time I think 2 years back during the summer so kids would wear a lot of bomb shots, you know, and we had a program in church, and our daughter was trying to use that, and my husband just told her that no, anything that is above your knee, you can't wear it to church. It's not that other people are not doing it, but in this house, this is how we're going to do it. And she looked at me and was like, so why did you buy it for me? And I'm like, okay, you said you wanted a short to wear a gown, and we got you a short. Now is this. So, what I'm trying to say is that children will usually have a way they want to just make you do what you can do. But I think we insisted. There are a lot of things, and she would just come up and say, oh, I want to do this thing. I say, why? You say, because friends are doing it. I'll say, no, you can't do it. These are the dangers. She will say, oh, mom, just leave it. There's no danger in it. And I'll say, no, this is the danger. And I'll insist. I'll say, no, you can't do it. For now that she listens to me, we're still going to be trying to do that, right? Sometimes the dad, instead of talking to her directly, he will come to me and say, please, can you talk to her about this? And then would agree. So, kids, we need to encourage our kids to dress decently. Everything must be done in moderation. You cannot say that you're the light and then you will now carry small black and say, okay, you want to make it camouflage. No, it is either, sorry, you're the light for being the light because you have a relationship with Christ and you want to be able to show that light with the way you do things, with the way you dress, with the way you talk, with the company you keep or not. And so we encourage our kids, and I'll say to everyone out there, the truth is that when you encourage your kids to do this thing, it benefits you as the parents. You understand?
Yeah.
Because when you our prayer as parents is, may my child be greater than me.
Me,
So
yeah.
when you encourage them to do that other side of dressing,
Mm.
omo, you have to also be ready to receive what comes with it, greater than me. Because it will
Yeah.
be because it will actually wow you the way that child will dress,
Yeah.
right? Now, you don't even understand if people are wearing like two pants, like the boys, the teenagers. I'm like, sometimes I'll call my son and say, is this how you dress? Like, this is me asking in real sincerity. He will say no. I say, okay, you say no because I'm going to hold you to it that time. When it comes, I'll tell you how many times you can't do this, right? I've seen kids, they want to go to school and because schools, some of the schools, no uniform. The child will just wear pajamas and then wear another one on and just like, no. I tell my kids, you have to dress well. Pretend as if you're going to see the president today. So let's say that the prime minister is coming to your school. Dress like that every day. Clean your shoes and all those things. So dressing must be encouraged for our kids. We must be different. There's nothing like Christ is in my heart alone. The heart should be able to
Reflect.
reflect outside. And so our dressing is very important. And I'm telling you, I've watched one or two shows. Even the very boys that go to the end of the earth, they want the very motherly woman like their mom,
To marry. I
right?
know.
So you keep asking, what is wrong? That is very important. I know that some people don't see that is any problem, but I know how it has divided homes. I've seen I've seen homes separating because of dressing and maybe cultural belief, like, no, in my side you cannot do this, in my side you cannot do this, and it ends up in a very dirty separation calling police,
mm,
being enemies, not talking to each other. Now, the only point of talking to is the child.
mm, mm. All right. Thank you so much. Another one here. That will be the last one. The other one is a comment. Somebody said, what advice can you give our teenagers who want to listen to their friends rather than listening to their parents when it comes to what they wear, what course they do at university, and so on?
Ah, what advice? What they wear?
Hmm.
Now, I have this
Even the course
affirmation.
they do in the university, their courses, right? Okay.
Okay. All right. I'm going to say something funny. For us, there are only three courses
Mm,
that you can read: medicine, engineer, scientist, lawyer. Okay, lawyer, scientist, engineer. You understand? We jokingly just put that to our kids.
mm,
That is a joke. Aside, now, every day we try to tell our kids something. You're not identified by your friends,
mm,
by your neighbors, by those that call the shots for your name. Your first identification is Christ. And so we are very intentional with one, looking for programs that are age appropriate for them, that is Christ
center.
centered,
Mm,
so that they can learn from there. They would see their peers
mm,
also learning there and
mm,
also exhibiting that Christ like attitude.
mm,
So that is one. Number two, the course they will study, we will put it to them that, look, as you prayerfully seek for what you want to study, it is important you look at what can pay your bills and be able to help you
mm,
save and
sure.
live a comfortable life
Mm,
in terms of income. So you have to do that. Trust me, almost all the Gen Zs, especially boys, they are YouTubers. I don't know whether your own used to say this. And so
oh
I
my
to
goodness.
say YouTubers is not a cause. Every time, then before now, if you ask my son, what do you want to be in the future? Either YouTuber. What is your favorite course? Gym. Gym bikini. What is gym? You get it?
Mm,
Because
I-
there's no competition actually in the schools, but in Nigeria, because
yes.
your child must select that they want English or maths or
Mm,
something. This one is gym. I said, no, gym is not a course. He said, no, gym is a course. That there's difference between gym and recess. Anyway, that's the joke by the side.
mm,
But we must encourage our kids to prayerfully select something that, one, can help them serve the community, two, can be able to provide for them,
mm,
right?
yeah.
Because they need to provide for themselves. They are not going to be under you for life. There is a time you as a parent won't work.
Mm,
And I would always say something: be intentional about being in the lives of your kids.
mm,
You see what those their friends like to do with them, like just go for shopping without a plan. Sometimes just follow them and say, oh yeah, I
so
will
they
be
know.
sitting here, just go round and whatever. Just
Mm,
tell me. If it's the one you can afford, just try and just do things for them. That, like my husband, sometimes he has a one-on-one with the kids. They get to talk, they tell him what they don't like that he's doing to them.
mm,
This was because we went for a program and they talked to dads and they said, look,
mm,
you're the ones that are always not having time for your
mm,
kids. You're not always there. So it's very important you create that, even if it's 15 minutes time that you're not in your house, you just spend with your child. You just ask them, Tell me something about me that you like or you don't like. Tell me
mm,
something that you think we can work together on. And with that, you will know little things about them. You'll be able to encourage them about what they should do in life, and they would agree.
mm.
Because there are so many kids, they just tell them, no, just be a philosopher, or just be, and I'm not against those things. The things is,
Yeah.
I
Mm.
always say, do what will be
For-
able to help
mm,
you serve God better, to
mm,
will be able to help you
mm,
give back to the community.
mm.
Three, will be able to pay your bills and get you a life that you've always wanted.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Honestly, in this generation, they don't want to study anything, more than 3 4 years, more than 4 years, let's say. So which is understandable, because some of them don't see reason why they have to stay in university for so long, while others are, some of them will even do 2 years. You see diplomas, 2
Yeah,
years diploma, 1 year diploma, and they're done and all that. So we should just have to encourage our children, to dream big. When they dream big, it will help them a lot. So when they
that's
start dreaming big, it will influence the program and the courses they want to do in future. You know.
that's right.
So thank you so much for that. I really appreciate, and I think many
Thank
people
you
were
so much.
commenting on everything you're talking about. So we
Oh,
just have,
thank you.
yeah. So we just have just like 3 questions more, then we'll just call it a day. So number one, it's just a question and answer. How do you handle a parent who refuse to change their parenting styles? We talked about that the other time. If one partner refuses to change, how do we handle it?
The thing is, you cannot change anyone. That
Hmm,
is just the sad truth.
hmm,
You can only change yourself. And if possible, keep encouraging your spouse to see if you can attend like retreat that is meant for just couples. you know there are certain churches that have some of these programs. If you cannot afford it, I think you talk on families so they can reach out to you, for help, on the best way. I know there are times I had to actually reach out to you, and we talked and prayed, right? So they can reach out to you. They can also look at going for counseling if they have good counseling in their church
environment.
community that can help them, But I would say always avoid putting blames,
Hmm, hmm,
right? So just try and, like, honestly, just try and your best to just explain to the other spouse why you think these are the better ways, and you have to do it in your best way. There's one thing that Joyce Mayer used to say, that before, because of her anger issues, that she would tell God that if she can tell her husband this thing after praying and trusting God for 3 days, then
hmm,
she knows she can talk to him. If the thing change, that means it's not important.
hmm,
So just find a way that you can mention it and give the good side and what the family can benefit from that.
hmm,
But I
hmm.
wouldn't say walk away. No.
Oh, hmm. In fact, I have 3 questions here for you. So one
Okay.
is one is a youth, but the first one I think is an adult. He's saying, what advice will you give a child who is clueless of a course they want to study?
Now, depending, like in this part of the world, we have majors that they do in a high school. So with those majors, the ones that they are doing very well, they'll be able to have an idea of what they can do, right? And then if they are very hands-on, they can also look into STEM.
Hmm,
STEM is fantastic, and there are a lot of opportunities there. So I would say that they should prayerfully look into it and then ask the guidance and counseling, and then also encourage their child. You know, for me, it was very difficult to actually dive into my children's education into because back from where I'm coming from, we just hire someone to help them with
Yeah,
their school
lessons and all that.
activities. Yeah, so now I have to get really involved and understand them, and that I just keep like, to be honest to you, today my daughter is going to be 15 this year. She said, "Oh, I don't even know what I want to read." Last
Mm,
year, she said it was law. Beginning of this year, she said it was law. We even had to put her in a program for leadership, and she's done with it. And she just came, she said, "You know what? I don't even think I know what I want." Of course, those
mm,
things come from time to time, but
mm,
I would advise that they should get a guidance and counseling, and then they shouldn't try and encourage the child that they should follow their passion,
mm,
because that thing that we say that is our passion sometimes is just our pleasure, not actually
mm,
passion. It's
mm,
just pleasure.
mm,
Like, oh, I just want to keep being on YouTube all the day. It's a pleasure, it's not a passion,
mm,
because it doesn't add up to give you any kind of income. So I would
mm,
say look at it
mm,
very well and encourage your child and be involved.
mm,
Even if you don't know anything, trust me, there was a time I don't know nothing about what is going on. I had to keep going in every day. And with ChatGPT now, you can ask questions and it will help you through.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're
You know
welcome.
what really catch my attention there is the guidance and counselor. You know,
Yeah,
sometimes when parents talks to their children, because of the familiarity, right? That kind of discussion might not sink into them. But if you look
yeah,
for somebody that you trust, like a counselor, that can talk to that child, maybe in a more friendly manner or whatever manner, I think it works a lot. So
yeah,
for many of us that are having issues, talking to our children, helping them out and all that, you can try having a guidance and counselor, or just look at someone that you think can be a mentor to that child, you know, or which you can see around, and I know that will really help. So this
yeah.
one is the youth. The person wrote a long thing. So you just have to listen now. We'll read it and we'll help the person out. Say, good evening. I'm a youth, and I thank God for the parents God blessed me with. But the problem I have with them, my dad especially, is someone that likes to impose and dictate all the way into the future. And that has always been a problem for me. It made me unhappy because he chose my course, and still now I wish he would let me do what I wanted to do, because studying what I wanted to do would have made me happy, unlike now. So, dear parents, please let us decide, but please be our guide and our best friend. Thank you. Thank you. This is very educative, and I'm happy I joined.
Okay, thank you too.
Mhm. So
So,
this,
thank you for the long comment and also question that imposed. The the truth is that before now, our parents actually decide for us what they feel we are good at, and then they use that to impose. For instance, my younger brother passed everything, WAEC, AA, and my dad insisted he has to go and read medicine, but that's not what my younger brother wanted to read at that point. So my younger brother wanted to be an engineer, so he ended up messing him up. Although he's doing well now, he went and did physics, and then he's doing well, especially now that we have all these analysis, and people who have physics background are really doing well in coding. So I mean, it all depends on what you want to do. So if you are not able to explain to your parents is very difficult, because sometimes our parents, when they see another child doing a particular course and they are making success, they will wish their child to go there. You understand? But they will forget that those kids are different and they are unique in their nature. So in this case, it's actually very difficult. What I would just suggest is, as a youth, you can go through your mom and explain to your mom. And if they see that you're committed in what you're doing, because I know that anything now can actually give you money. However, it's very important for you to separate from pleasure and passion. Because if you don't really understand what your passion is, you would think your pleasure is your passion. At the end of the day, it will not be able to take you to where you want to be, because it's not just about you being happy at that moment. It's about how much you're willing to put in to get into that destination that you're looking at. So that's what I would say
Mm,
for that
mm,
person. So the person should look at it that way.
Thank you so much. And there is no, for me too, I just want to add one or two things to that person. There's no time you cannot study anything. At least you've
Yeah,
done the first degree or whatever, then you can go into another degree. I know of people that do 3 4 degrees together. There are many online degrees that you can do, just maybe on that thing that you think is what you really want to do. So there's no time, though you might think you've wasted time, but then as I am now, I'm still going to school, and I know our guest too is in school. So there's
yeah,
no time we cannot go back to school. So
not
you
at
can
all.
still go back to school, look for any online courses and that. And honestly, it's just that the way the whole thing is changing now. As you said, it's many children think their passion is what they have to do. Like, because before then they used to say, okay, do something that you have passion on, something. So they are mixing that thing together.
Yeah.
So if we cannot separate this thing, like, okay, this is a profession, this is a passion, the children are mixing it together. So that's
Mm-hmm.
why some parents need to stand in, as you said, we have to stand in as a parent and guide them through. You like this, right? But you are good in this art. You go with the help of God. We can help these children. And instead of us, adding more to the problem on ground. And when they choose those courses, we have to be, we have to be in their life, encouraging them. Because
Yes.
I've heard about many teenagers going into university, even here. They will do first year, second year, that they will say, oh, I don't like this course again. They will move to another one. First year, second year, they don't like it, they move to another one. At the end of the day, they are spending 6 years and they've not gotten a degree. So
Yes.
that's another problem too. So it's just the help of God. We can only succeed through the help of God. We have a
That's
lot of questions, but I don't think we can touch them.
good.
So I don't think we can touch them because we spent more than 1 hour. So I really, really want to thank you. Wow. This was
Thank
a
you.
very powerful session. It's a very powerful
Thank you.
discussion. Thank you so much for coming, my
Thank
dear
you to
sister and
all our
friend.
audience. Thank you, sister.
I
Mhm.
really, really appreciate you.
No
You don't know how I
problem.
love
Thank
you.
you
I
so
love you
much.
so much. Thank you for honoring my
Thank you. I
invitation.
love you
And
too. And thanks to
and
all
I
our
hope to
audience.
see you soon. And we need to hang around. We have to catch up.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
All right.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much. And thank you, our viewers. We really, really appreciate you all. Thank you for your comment. Thank you for your time. And we hope to be back next time for another interesting episode.
Edition.
And thank you, guys. Good night. Good evening. Enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are. And thank you all. Bye for now. Bye. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Have you stopped the live? Let me see.